Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a review on the Rollo Thermal Printer. For those of you who have a home-based business like I do, this is a printer that prints out labels for you to help assist with your packaging and shipping. I am quickly approaching my 1,000th sale on Etsy, which is where I do most of my business, and I have been noticing lately how much time I have been spending in prepping my packages for shipment, which cuts into my painting time. So this printer is the latest acquisition to my studio and home business, and if you're interested in learning a little bit more about how this works and whether or not it's for you, then just keep watching. So here is my printing station. I have both my printers and I have my Rollo Thermal Printer set up right here on the end. Now, as you can see here from the side, this is about how much room it takes. I have my printer in the front. I have my label holder in the back with my labels inside the holder, and I would say in all, I can tell you exactly how much room this takes up. I'm going to use I apologize, I have got my handheld camera here. From front to back, it is about 17 inches, and the widest part of my footprint is 8 inches. So around 17 by 8 is how much space that I am using for the printer and the label holder. So in order to put your labels in, there's a little button here on the side, and you pull it toward you. When you do that, it opens up and your labels just set right inside here. Okay, and when you go to load your label, all you do is just take the label and you just bring it in right about to this line right here, right before you get to the roller part. And you just rest it there. And then when you close it, it will advance forward. Now it'll advance forward one label. So when I first started this, I thought, well, I'm wasting a label. I don't want to do that. So I tried to figure out how to go about getting it so it wouldn't waste a label. At first, I would take it out and I would insert it just this far, but it would still always advance to the next label. So one of the great uses about Rollo's website is I was able to just type in on their little search area, and I asked, how do I manually install labels? Well, sure enough, there was an answer. So you close the label printer, you close it first, and then behind, all you have to do is just manually feed it in. And when you manually feed it in, and I'm trying to do this by feel because I can't get my phone back there. But when you get it just right, if I was looking back there, I would be able to do it. There we go. When you do it manually, it will insert the label, it'll sort of catch it, it'll insert it, and then it will bring it back to the very front. So you won't ever have to waste a label that way. So quickly, I want to show you how easy this printer is to print. So I'm going to take you up here to my computer screen, and I have my label already purchased on Etsy, and I am getting ready to print it out onto the label, the thermal printer. So my print box has come up on my computer, and you want to make sure that the printer is set to the printer thermal printer, and that your preset is right here. I have my last used settings as my preset because the last printer that I used to print with was my thermal printer. So that is set accordingly. And then most importantly, you want to make sure that your paper size is set to 4 by 6 inches. because that way it knows exactly the space that it needs to print on, instead of it printing part of the label or thinking that you're printing on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. So make sure that that is set to 4 by 6 inches. And then from here, all I do is just click print. So I'm going to come back down here to my printer, and we are going to go ahead and just tell it to print. And there we go. It printed out quickly. You see how fast that was. And it printed out crisp and clear. I was reading some of the reviews on Amazon. Some people said that the barcode was printing out smudgy and a little bit difficult to see, and I have not had any issues on that whatsoever. Mine prints out perfectly. So that's really all there is to it. It's quick. You just peel off the back and you put it right onto your envelope or your package, and you're done. So you can see how easy it is to use the Rollo printing system. It is incredibly easy compared to the way I was doing it before. Sometimes you don't realize how much time something takes until you actually see that there's an easier way, and then it's like, why didn't I do this earlier? In my case, what I was doing before was telling my desktop that I wanted to print out a label. My label would print out onto an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. Then I would have to take the paper over to my shipping station. I would have to cut out the label with a pair of scissors, center it on my envelope, and then take 3 strips of tape in order to secure my label to the envelope. And it doesn't sound like that would take a lot of time, but when you're doing several of these a day, it can become quite a pain to do, especially when you have other things that need to get done. It's those tedious sort of mindless things that just kind of get aggravating after a while. So this thermal printer works beautifully. It takes like literally 2 seconds to do. It spits it out in record timing. It just shoots it out, and then you just take the adhesive off the back and you slap it down onto your envelope, which makes it really, really fast. As far as setup goes, I personally did not have to contact customer support because it was pretty straightforward, and I use a Mac. I was looking at some of the reviews on Amazon, and a few people were mentioning that they were wondering if it worked with a Mac computer, and Rollo's response was that Mac was in beta testing. I have not had any issues installing on my Mac. It was very straightforward. I never had to contact customer support, but if you do need to contact them, they give you 3 ways to do it. You can do it either by email, by phone, or by remote desktop. And if you leave them a message on their website, you can also leave a phone number where they will call you back, which is really nice. So they make it pretty easy. They also have images, which I really like this feature on their website. I like it when people dumb things down for me because I don't like to read through a lot of directions. So they include images of things that you can compare with what you see on their website as far as troubleshooting or downloading to your particular system, and then you can just compare it to what's on your desktop, so you know you're kind of in the right ballpark of where you need to be. I really like that feature. They make it a lot easier for people like me who's not very techy to understand. So I really like that. One thing to note though, if you use Etsy like I do with all of my shipping, 95% of my shipping, the directions that Rollo gives on their website for Etsy is currently out of date because Etsy just upgraded their software. So the entire Etsy experience, if you are currently a seller on Etsy, you know this already, but it looks completely different than it did a week ago. So the directions on how to download the software and how to change the format for the labels to fit the Rollo Thermal Printer is a bit different than what you are going to be seeing on your desktop. So I'm hoping that they will update that on their end so that it makes it easier. For me, I had to, that Etsy gives you this option where you can go back to the old way, the way that the desktop, that their software used to look like. You can like have it do that for the 24 hours before then it reverts back to the new way. So once I did that, then I was able to follow the directions that Rollo gave for making sure that there was a smooth and easy transition for Etsy. But just be aware of that, that when you go there, if you're using Etsy, that it is going to look a bit different on Rollo's site just because Etsy has done this upgrade. But other than that, the software was very easy, very straightforward. The only downside that I can think of, and really this is really pretty minor, but because I already have limited space in my studio, it would really have been nice to have had the option to have the printer itself maybe stackable, like sitting on top of the labels. And I understand why they can't really do that, because then you would have to sort of snake the labels up and back around for it to go through the printer. But and the footprint is really, I mean, it's really pretty small as it is. I mean, you saw in my demonstration video how small of a space it takes up, like maybe 16 inches by maybe 10 inches altogether, roughly. It would have been nice to have had it stackable just so that I could use that room to store more of my art supplies, but really that's a minor issue as far as that goes. And other than that, I am really, really happy with this printer. And I didn't know this actually until I was reading about it, but it also takes no ink. So when I was printing out my labels using my printer, of course I was using ink that really I need to be using towards creating my prints. So that is saving me money in the long run, which I'm very, very happy about, because as everybody knows, ink is very, very expensive. So this takes no ink. So that's a win-win situation as far as I'm concerned on that point also. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this demonstration. Like I said, if you have any reservations about this particular thermal printer, I mean, I give it an A+. I have had no issues with it. It works like a dream and was very easy to set up. So hopefully this will help you make your decision as to whether or not you feel that one of these is right for your home business. So thanks again for watching, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.